biggest challenge ever. Adding 4 lots of 3 digits.
Oh, what? 4 lots of 3 digits.
Maths is all about what we do every day, every minute. It's all about looking at your watch, it's about going down to the shop. If it isn't in a context, then it hasn't got any appropriateness for real life.
The focus for the new primary framework for mathematics changes. Using and applying has a higher profile to help children make links between the everyday and maths in the classroom.
So how much is that together? £1.15.
So Hasim's next maths lesson will involve vegetables too. Problem solving on how much space there will be in the school allotment. Christchurch is a one-form entry Church of England primary school with 90% English as an additional language. Its challenging circumstances hadn't been served well by the former numeracy strategy.
Over the last 4 years, our standards in maths has been on a downward spiral. When we looked into the analysis, the result was that new teachers were actually becoming de-skilled by relying very heavily on schemes and following that through. So they weren't then using knowledge and understanding of the mathematics curriculum to be able to unpick the learning for the children.
Yesterday, what were we doing?
Maths at the top end of Key Stage 2 is set by ability. Anna Bolson is going to concentrate on addition through measuring perimeter with the children who need a little extra support.
Size to the seat. Right, yesterday, what were we doing?
Perimeter.
Good, say it again.
Perimeter.
Perimeter. Miss yesterday talked about a special word about 4-sided shapes. Can you remember what that word was? Ramsey?
Quadrilateral.
Say it again.
Quadrilateral.
Good boy. Quad. Real. Lateral. Speaking and listening is massive. Technical vocabulary in maths, they need to understand exactly what it means. There's no option. They have to repeat, they articulate to each other to get across the understanding. It takes up a lot of the learning, but the articulation and the understanding has to be there in order for them to progress.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
Maths coordinator Amy Dutton is posing a problem requiring multiplication to calculate area with the more secure mathematicians.
OK, who can tell me what it is we're going to do today? What we're going to do? Mariam.
I can calculate the area.
In your pairs, can you just talk? What will we need to do? What's our wilf going to be today? To calculate area, what do we need to remember to do? On your boards, please. Speaking and listening and talk partners is a huge part of the new framework. When the children start using the language, they start to understand the language, and then they're using it in every day. We hear them in the playground now talking about the mathematical language. It's getting into their heads, and also it helps them explain and discuss and figure problems out with a support partner rather than always trying to do it on their own.
And rather than planning the lesson from the new electronic framework document alone, Anna and Amy decided to work together.
So if you say metres and centimetres.
Would you throw in the decimal?
Oh, I don't know.
We're working really hard to actually try and make learning fun. And part of that is actually looking at opportunities to do maths in a more practical way, to actually make it real rather than something that happens in a book or it's a scheme that you work through. The children have got to enjoy it to have that motivation to move forward.
The new framework is great. Really, when you take time and look at it, very little has changed. It's just a different structure. And I think there was initial panic, but actually if you take a deep breath, very little has changed, just a different format.
Are you going to have them all measure in one, or will they measure?
No, that's what we need to split up, I think.
Yeah.
What's that, Hassan?
Meter stick.
A meter stick. How long is that?
100 centimeters.
100 centimetres in how many metres? 1. So we're going to go outside, and where yesterday we measured the perimeter of small shapes using centimetres, today we're going to go and have a go using measuring in metres. We're going to measure bigger shapes. You're going to work in pairs. You're going to measure the sides of the allotment bed, and we're going to get perimeter of bigger shapes.
Your task is going to be to calculate how much of the allotment we use for planting and how much of the allotment is wasted for those walkways we have around it. How could you solve this problem? What are you going to do? What is your strategy?
The allotment's soon to be a blaze of vegetables. Each class has a bed and the produce will be sold to parents. Which is why the challenge to find out how much space was wasted by having the paths had a lot of relevance to the children in the upper set.
So we can measure that and see how much we're not using.
Here is the plants over there.
Yeah, and loads of carrots and all the other ones.
Someone have to do this. Could I do this? And then we can take the area of the plant away from the whole area of the whole allotment. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, we're going to measure the whole allotment, and then we're going to measure the squares, and then we'll add how much beds there are altogether, and then we take away from the total of the whole allotment.
And then something good outside.
Pick a bed. Mrs. Kirby's there, I'm here. Let's be accurate and work together. I want to hear you talking. I want to hear you talking about your measurements in centimetres, okay?
Okay.
Let's go then. You said that side is the same as this side. Why did you say that? But why?
It's a rectangle.
So you think it's a rectangle or a quadrilateral? Okay, so put your second measurement down then.
Normally we just measure small things, and it's better if we like bigger things so that we can learn more.
159.
100. Okay, let's try another one.
In home I speak Arabic. In here I speak English. It's too hard to speak English. Some words in English are too hard for me, like quadrilateral.
The children were working brilliantly together. They were supporting, they were advising, they'd split up the jobs, they were swapping the roles around, and that was great to see. The measurement, it was good to see that was accurate, because this is the second time they've used meters this term. And beginning, what I wanted to show was, could they remember what a centimetre looked like, what a metre looked like? And yes, they could. And they understood how to use the equipment effectively and accurately.
Okay, that's 100.
The social and emotional aspects of Learning Project is really embedded into everything we do cross-curricular. One boy said, yeah, I'm really great at this. And yeah, he is really great at it, and it's good that he can articulate that and, you know, be proud of his achievement.
So we're in the allotment, so you know what you're doing, you've got your plans, off you go.
Hold it tight.
Sometimes my dad does DIY, and if they're easy jobs, sometimes he lets me do stuff with him. Say if he's doing carpet fitting and you need to measure how long the floor is.
10 times 8, that is 80. So then times by 5. Times that by 5. And 8 at 40. 120 then. 120? 120.
I think it's really good outside because inside it gets a bit stuffy and it gets really hot. So fresh air as well as working hard.
1, 2.
I don't really like big numbers. It just muddles up my brain. But I do like small numbers. But sometimes if I'm using a calculator, it's okay for me.
The allotment measurements, even though they may not be convenient numbers, are the basis for the calculating lesson. Far more meaningful than numbers taken from a textbook.
This is our biggest challenge ever. Adding 4 lots of 3 digits.
What? 4 lots of
We're partitioning, aren't we? So what do we have to partition with this calculation?
You add all the tens at the beginning of the number and then you just do a circle around them and you add them together.
They'd got the numbers and started to partition and got some success. But then they were honest. Yeah, this is really difficult. The numbers are huge. It's hard. We don't know. We're stuck. Carlson?
It's hard
Why is it hard?
because the numbers are big.
The numbers are big. What are you used to working with?
Small numbers.
Such as?
only up to 100.
Up to 100. Okay, so this is stretching, is it? It's challenging you.
So choose that hard one or easy one. Hard one. 600, 700, 800.
So the takeaway is a total of 8, 2, 4, 5, 6. Come here. Okay, now we have to should we make up the rest of the allotments?
Yeah, because it's 5 more, there's still 5 bucks. Remember to...
The new framework, with it allowing you to go outside and bring the real world in, it definitely has posed a lot of problems for our school, and I'm sure others, with teacher knowledge. Teacher knowledge in maths definitely has to be 100% secure to follow through with this framework. Knowledge of your children needs to be, the trust level between children and teacher needs to be built up.
5 take away 2, 5 times 2, 3, 9 take away 4, 5.
I'm confused because they're saying this is 100,937.5 when I got 101,937.5.
Should we check with the calculator? You check it with the calculator.
Some of the children found it tricky because they were recording numbers all around their page, and then they were forgetting which number was which. It does cause problems, but eventually, with a lot of thought, and when we come back into class and pull it together, they normally figure out what their thinking was and follow a trail back.
Plus 1000 equals 997880. Got correct.
For the plenary, the maths groups recombined to share their findings. It's proving to be a valuable opportunity for quality speaking and listening for both sets, as promoted by the new framework.
We have done perimeter.
After we done all the sides like this side, we have to add it all up and then write it down. I find it hard.
The questions that they were asking, the answers they were getting, it was brilliant. And you can see the amount of enthusiasm they've got, the love to sort of articulate what they've done, and the need for them to have someone to listen to them, you know, and the fact that someone was there to do that, that's massive for them.
Whenever you're doing addition, always put centimetres squared on.
I think the challenge for other schools, and the challenge for all schools now, is actually based on the progress made. So whereas we are working towards actually hitting floor targets, the challenge for other schools would actually be ensuring that if those children have hit the floor targets at Key Stage 1, are they building on them? And the new framework, as you saw today, with those open-ended questions with that possibility to explore, is actually enabling children and teachers to actually stretch and make the level 5s more fun, more real and more applied.
The new framework is 100% a good way forward. It's bringing everything that a lot of teachers have thought for a while to the surface, and the children in my class absolutely love maths now, whereas last year I'm not sure that was the picture.